الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are beginning with our English lectures after a long time, after a lapse of so many months. Naturally, we would now think of starting a new series of lectures in which we would like to think about the practical applications of the teachings of Islam, the teachings of Islam according to the school of Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayhim ajma'in. To prove and at the same time to invite our young people especially to appreciate the teachings of Islam, and at the same time to see that we make a practical application of our teachings and raise a class of young men and women who will start practicing Islam without any apologies or without any hesitation. It's very important. There is something which we call recognition and something which we call realization. While one may recognize the truth of Islam, one has to realize the truth of Islam. We know that we understand the oneness of God, but we do not know what is the application of that faith that we have about absolute unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that is not only a piece of creed which we'll keep in our mind, it influences my character, it influences my dealing, it influences my thinking. It's not only for the act of worship, but it's the act day to day, our interaction with each other, whether nationally or internationally, is definitely governed by the formula of Islam, La ilaha illallah. Naturally, this is going to be step by step, and there are going to be so many lectures, but at the end of the lecture, I would like to see that we have immediately a sort of an enrollment of young men into a particular fold. Not that we are going to start a new religion. Islam is the only religion we know of and we believe in. But we would like to see that now we have some committed youths enter into it. For we have had lectures for many years. Majalis have been going on since I was very young, and perhaps before even I was born. But now we have got to see that the people are committed to it. To teach a young boy how to pray in madrasa is something else. And to see that the boy starts praying voluntarily without any pressure is something else. The salat in the household has got to be a natural process. Here the time enters. Father and mother, whoever is at home, stands up on musalla for namaz together with the children. But if it is only for madrasa, where an inspector like myself goes one day on a Sunday to see that the children are being taught how to pray, and they do pray at 1 o'clock or 1:15, and thereafter we do not know whether they do or they don't. Together with this, there are so many aspects. For Islam is a code of life. It governs every aspect of life. Therefore, in every aspect, there has got to be a thorough commitment to Islamic teachings for men and for women. If this is not done, I do not see any alternative. to fill the minds of the people with knowledge is something else. And to ask for application of that knowledge into life and make it relevant is something else altogether. For a boy or a girl who rises to become baligh and from bulugh upward to adulthood has to know what is halal even in the trade, what is halal in the businesses, what is halal in the income, and what is haram. And together with that, after the knowledge of it, it has got to be applied that we do not allow any haram income to come into our coffers. After having known this is najis and this is tahir, we have got to see that we do not eat or partake of anything which is najis and do only that which is tahir. Now, this sort of commitment to Islam, one may ask me, Mullah Sahab, are we not Muslims already? I say, we are Muslims already. But unfortunately, we have tried to find a way of compromise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On occasions which suit us, we say, yes, we are Muslim. On occasions which may not suit us, we may try to find a loophole. One of them is the occasion of marriage in the family. When there is a marriage, a family which is pious, which knows halal from haram, indulges in all sorts of things which are haram. And if you ask them, Amaro pello chokro parne se, this is my first son who is getting married. That means for the first son, let me do whatever I like. And when the second son marries, if you tell him, he says, now what to do? If I did this for the first, I must do for the second, otherwise he will feel ill about it. And when it is the last son, he says, now, Mullah Sahab, I won't give you any difficulties or problem after this. This is the last. Let me do whatever I like. Now, every act in Islam has got, apart from its apparent and ostensible feature, it has got a spiritual aspect to it. Even your business has a spiritual aspect. Otherwise, Allah would not have said that the moment you go to your own shop, for every step that you take to earn halal, Allah writes for you thawab and blessings. Why should He say that? Why? I'm going to fill my own pockets. I'm going to earn my own livelihood. Yet for every step that I take, He gives me thawab and He rewards me. This is because there is a spiritual dimension to all that I do. Marriage also has a spiritual dimension. My brother, younger brother Munir is sitting here. Inshallah ta'ala, when he, after a year, comes before me with his young one, and that child, inshallah, grows, the day he goes to madrasa and says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, first day, thawab is written for him and his wife, the mother of the child, and as long as he lives and the child reads Quran, thawab is for him. And after him, whenever the child and the boy will read, thawab is for him. This is a spiritual dimension, the result of that marriage, which tonight seems to be just an occasion of joy. It is not simply an occasion of joy. It is a procreation which has got spiritual meaning. That is the reason why the Prophet said, when the bride will leave her home to go to her husband, provided she goes to her husband's home, not to the hotel. Because the hotel is not his home. If she goes to his home, to house, the moment she enters, together with her entry, Malaika enter together. The angels enter with blessings. And they congratulate both the bride and the bridegroom for having warded off the possibilities of haram from their life. There is a spiritual aspect to it. Islam views everything both ways. There is a material joy, there is a physical joy, there is a joy which is mundane, there is a joy which is transitory, and there is a joy that is to stay there. It will give me that joy even when I am in grave. when my son will stand on my grave and say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim al-Fatiha, and give the thawab of Fatiha to me, that will be the result of the marriage which took place years ago, and I am now dead. There is a spiritual dimension of everything. That is the reason why I have been shouting every time, incurring the anger of many friends, that haram should not be indulged in, even in the marriage, even if you are pressurized. Haram is haram. What is haram in marriage? I have worn a new cap because of Munir's marriage. What is haram in marriage? That mixed gathering is anti-Islam in haram. You want to have walima? Have it in Imambara the way you had just now. This is the best way of it, and there is a thawab for everyone. We have our own culture which is identified and entwined with Islam. There is no two culture, there is no dichotomy in Islam to say that I will live this way and I will believe that way. It cannot be. You will practice what you believe. Therefore these mixed gatherings must be stopped. And now don't come and tell me, bhaiyo ghanu kaise? The ladies will say a lot. You see, you have got to follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have said, and I say it again, that when the time comes, the community must decide to ban this by not going and not joining, even if it is from my closest relative. Never attending such gatherings. That is the only solution. There is no other solution. Musical parties. And anything that goes by the way of israf, anything which goes by way of israf, extravagance, is not jaiz. Maulana is sitting here. Ask. That which goes by way of extravagance, that is unnecessary. That is the reason why that culture which we inherited from Hinduism of sprinkling the rice or breaking, what do you call this? Huh? And that has got a problem. Do you know that if he doesn't break, that means it will end in divorce. So he has got to put some force to break it. If he does not put enough force on it, the marriage will fail. And if a person marries with the same notion from the very first night that the marriage is going to fail, it is bound to fail. For these are the things which are not needed, and some of them become haram because of their very nature, which influences the minds of the people. Now what is nikah tonight? Inshallah, we have got so many non-Muslim friends here. They will observe how simple it is. Very simple. Apart from the food that we have had and the prayers that we have said, which is being said every day, nothing new about it. And this gathering, because of Friday, it is held every Friday. The exact procedure of marriage is going to be just pronouncing and formalizing it in a formula. On behalf of the girl, we will pronounce that we are giving her away to him as her lawful wife, his lawful wife, and he will accept to say, yes, I take her as my lawful. And nikah is over. We say it only once and nikah is over. We repeat it for plugging the loopholes, because it is somehow a contract. Somebody may say this preposition was not used and that preposition has another meaning. So we plug the holes from all sides to make it airtight. Otherwise, one pronunciation of formula is enough and the marriage is formalized. and thereafter life begins, new life. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that a person who is married and he prays, his salat, his prayers are 70 times more worthier than the prayers of one who has not yet married. So from tomorrow, Munir, namaz al-subh, huh? We start from namaz al-subh, no qada. Namaz al-subh, you see, is 70 times. So when you pray 2 rakat, it is multiplied by 7. And tonight, the Prophet, in every act that Islam taught us, there has been a significant meaning. They come and say, Mullah Sahib, dua, give the dua. It's not a dua, my friends. It is something which you must understand. That the Prophet said, keep your hand on her head and say. Say. It is an assertion. It is in Arabic, you can say it in English, you can say in any language you like. Understand what you say. Oh Allah, I have taken her as my lawful companion and wife according to your Sharia, your law, according to your law. I have made her my spouse. And if you have destined that she may bear children and conceived by me, make them healthy, wholesome Muslim children and not partners of devils. This is what he will read. And it's not only for him to read, it is for her also to keep her hand on his head and say, Ya Allah, I have made him my lawful husband according to your law. And if I am to conceive by him, grant us children who are healthy, wholesome Muslims, not associates of devils. And then there is 2 rakat namaz. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Mullah Sahib, you don't want to leave us also on the night of marriage? I say, I will not leave you. Because the Prophet has not left us. I am not going to give any new law. The Prophet said, 2 rakat namaz for thanksgiving. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I thank you for having granted me this occasion in life to get wedded and have a wife or have a husband. May Allah grant you tawfiq, Munir, not to practice family planning, and grant you the wisdom of having the child the first year, inshallah ta'ala. Let the child come its own way. But he belongs to a family which is very well known, to whole family of Mir Ali Devji, to his father Pyar Ali Bhai who is here, to his brother Mahmood, whose services to the community are well known, and may Allah grant them barakah. We say, inshallah, this marriage is full of blessings and mubarak. Similarly, Taqiyullah Khan Marhum has passed away. He used to come here, he used to meet with us, he used to sit with our senior citizens. We know him from Kampala and from Uganda. May Allah bless his soul with maghfirah. And inshallah to his family also, and to the bride's family we say, this marriage is inshallah mabrur. Now Munir, I know that you don't need being told, but I must tell you, my friend, that someday when you will come home, you might not be in your mood. Somebody's check might have bounced, or some transaction might have failed. When you are not in your true element, at that time it is for your wife to understand and accommodate. She's listening, I know that. And the day she is not in her mood, because the children have created some problem, or the neighbors have been a bit nasty, or the food has been burnt, at that time it is for you to accommodate. Life goes this way. If both of you start tug of war, then it breaks. But when we accommodate and understand each other, inshallah, there is no problem. That is one. Second, we normally live as a joint family. Our parents are with us. and so are we. We have to learn to preserve and maintain that balance between our parents and our spouses. May Allah grant us that tawfiq, that one may not rise to displease the parents, nor to displease the wife. The wife has got to have that sort of confidence that the husband belongs to her and that they will sort out their own problems. And the parents may have that sort of feeling that by getting the son married or the daughter married, they haven't lost them altogether. May Allah grant us tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa الله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In a follow-up to the last lecture which I delivered on Friday, I have certain further observations to make so that the subject is clear. Salawat. Mu'mineen are requested to still come further if they can, please. Thank you. The second question which arose in the minds of those who spoke against Sharia or the establishment of any religion was that there was a normal practice among the students, and it still prevails, that they always either arrange debates or symposium where they say Islam and science. The subject is kept as if to compare Islam with science or religion and science. And then, of course, an effort is being made to reconcile and compromise between the suppositions which scientists have promulgated with the definite teachings of religion and Islam. I understand, I hope that you have understood the difference. There is something which is called a scientific supposition. It's a supposition which has not yet been proved, which has been advanced by a particular scientist, and it is still being considered by himself and also by the world, by other scientists. But it has already been printed in a scientific journal, and because of the name behind it, a very well-known scientist has said this, a physicist has said this, therefore it gains currency and it becomes popular among people. And the layman believes that this is a scientific view, while actually it is simply a supposition. As opposed to that, religion has given a definite guideline or a definite information which is then being compared. If it tallies, and if you find that two agree, then you find someone standing and saying, look, religion had said this 1400 years ago or many hundred years ago. After some time, that supposition changes. And the scientists who follow change the whole thing and say it was not the way as perceived by so-and-so, It is in the other way around, with some differences and some variations. Now what happens is that you have tried to tally a religious injunction with a supposition which changed. Now what will you do? This is what Allama Iqbal said, खुद बदलते नहीं कुरान को बदल देते हैं. Muslims have a tendency, they don't change themselves, but they change the Quran to fit in this supposition, a dangerous exercise. 2 or 3 observations in this very brief lecture tonight are of utmost importance. First and foremost, that Islam clearly has stated from the very beginning in the Quran, it is there, and also in the ahadith of the Prophet and Aimma alayhimus salam, it is clearly mentioned that a man is not only his physical existence, that man is not body alone. Together with that, there is a soul, and there is something which is called nafs, or which is roughly translated as self or mind. Human person is therefore receiving physical as well as spiritual influences from various sources. And you become what you are, not only by your physical existence, but also by your spiritual dimension and aspect of your existence. When man was created, naturally, the idea is that he is not only an intellectual person, but he has certain basic instincts also. And as far as instincts go, he shares them with the animals. Hunger. The moment you feel the pangs of hunger, you like to eat. And there you share this with animals. The animals, when they are hungry, they also eat. Sleeping. Trying to find your food, or whether by way of opening a shop and going to your business, or in earlier days by hunting or whatever, but trying to find means of subsistence. We share. And to save oneself from the inclemencies of the weather, hot and cold, warm and severe cold, is also we share the instinct. And then procreation, marriage, and the attraction of both the sexes towards each other. We all share these with the animal. These are called instincts. But together with the instincts, there is something which is an overriding factor, which is called intellect or aql or reason, which the animals do not have, while man has been blessed with that quality. In order to remember this, because the idea is always, Russell said this,